China has done it again, this time playing a political game at the Asian Games. 3 wushu players from Arunachal Pradesh who were headed to the Asian Games in China have been denied visas. Neman Wangsu, Onilu Tega and Mepung Lamgu couldn't even download their accreditation cards. Now, these accreditation cards essentially serve as visas for the Games. The trio from Arunachal Pradesh were held back, while 8 of their fellow squad members were able to take that flight to China. We know this is not a one-off incident. China has been playing this game for a while now. Back in July, the Indian wushu team couldn't make it to China again for the World University Games precisely for this reason. Those 3 same athletes got stapled visas instead of a pasted one. This essentially, ladies and gentlemen, is a message that Beijing does not recognize India's territorial claim over Arunachal Pradesh and considers Arunachal as their own territory. India, of course, hasn't taken this incident lightly. The Ministry of External Affairs has thrown a punch, calling out Beijing's discriminatory moves. India, in fact, firmly expressed discontent and accused China of violating the essence of the Asian Games and the regulations that prohibit discrimination against athletes from member states. And we now have a response from China. Vice President of the Olympic Council of Asia, Wei Xinghong, who is Chinese, said that Beijing had actually granted visas and is now shifting blame to these athletes instead. Listen in.
These Indian athletes got already visa for enter in China. China didn't refuse any visa. Unfortunately, these athletes didn't accept this visa.
We had a meeting yesterday of the working group as well, and it's been taken up in the working group meeting, and they're taking it up with the government, and we are also taking it up with the government. It's under discussion with us as well. But this is outside what the government to government is happening. We are from the OCA side of it, we are doing it.
Now, then came China's old Arunachal playbook. A Chinese foreign ministry spokesperson said, and I quote, "The Chinese government has never recognized the so-called Arunachal Pradesh, and the South Tibet region is part of China's territory." So who's lying here? Why is the Asia Olympic president telling us that visas have been granted when China's foreign ministry is saying that visas have not been granted essentially? India stood firm here. Apart from the MEA statement, Sports Minister Anurag Thakur, who was to travel to China for the Asian Games, has now called off his scheduled visit. On the other hand, Union Minister Kiran Rijiju has also fired back. He's from Arunachal Pradesh. He's saying Arunachal Pradesh's undeniable place in India has been sealed. He also spoke about how China's denial of visas to officials from Arunachal Pradesh is not new.
China has been, for many years, denying visas to officials from Arunachal Pradesh. This time, Government of India has strongly reacted and protested in Beijing also, and from the Foreign Ministry also. In protest, the sports minister's visit to China for the Asian Games opening ceremony has been cancelled. No official will visit, and Ministry of External Affairs have already made a clear statement that India has the right to respond at the right time. So India reserves the right to respond appropriately. अरुणाचल हमेशा से भारत का हिस्सा रहा है और रहने वाले हैं। अरुणाचल के जितने भी खिलाड़ी थे सब अरुणाचल स्टेट से हैं, मगर इंडिया के लिए, भारत देश के लिए खेलने जाने वाले थे। उनका वीज़ा रोकना ये बहुत ही नाइंसाफ़ी कदम है। चाइना हैज़ बिन फॉर मेनी ईयर्स denying visas to officials from Arunachal Pradesh. This time, Government of India has strongly reacted and protested in Beijing also. And
Ashok Sajjanhar is a former ambassador. He's joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Sajjanhar, it's all very well to say la lank to China. It's all very well to say that Arunachal Pradesh is an integral part of India, which it is. It's all very well to say that officials will not visit the Asian Games opening ceremony in China. Fact is that the Chinese have sent a political message via the Asian Games. Why are we not pulling out of the Asian Games? Why are we not saying that if this is what you want to do, if it's politics that you want to play, we are not coming to China for the Asian Games?
Yeah, that is one way that we could react, that we could respond. But first of all, let me say it's a pleasure to be on your show, Shreya, and on this particular subject. This is one way that we could respond. The other way is, as India has said, that we reserve the right to take countermeasures at an appropriate time. But I think this should not just stay as a statement. Because, two things here. First, on your remarks, on your comment, we've said that, we shouldn't really be mixing sports and politics. Sports are basically designed to bring countries together to sort of, provide the people, the citizens with opportunities to develop the sportsman spirit so that, they can go beyond politics and they can establish relations between themselves. But in terms of, if they are playing politics, India should also respond in a similar measure. And that India will have to give a thought, meaning I welcome the statement that has been made by the Ministry of External Affairs that we reserve the right. But now it becomes incumbent upon us, that there's reservation of the right should not continue for a very long time. In a finite time, we should also be able to find out some way that, our response has to be proportional to what they have done. It doesn't need to be provocative. We don't need to sort of, go in an entirely different direction. But I think something similar, and we need to hit back so that the message goes to China. I agree with you when you say that, la la dikhana, or saying, protesting, or our minister not going. It is not really going to make much of a difference as far as China is concerned. I think they are very thick-skinned people. So, it is not really, it'll be like water running off the duck's back, so to say. But, if we are able to take some action of a similar nature, some countermeasure of a similar nature, I think that will definitely register. So that is where I would suggest, that's the path that we should take.
Mr. Sajjanhar, I want to ask you this. Why are we so cautious when it comes to reacting to what China does? They are no friends of ours, just like Pakistan is no friend of ours. Our cricketers don't go to Pakistan, right, to play? We have taken that decision. The BCCI has taken the decision that we are not sending our players to play in Pakistan. Why can't we take the same, same approach with the Chinese?
Yeah,
why are we always cautious with the Chinese and not the Pakistanis?
Yeah, meaning I think definitely there is a lot of difference between China and Pakistan. Both are adversarial nations, both are hostile nations, but there is a lot of difference between the two. And I think as far as Asian Games is concerned, it is a much broader sports event. It's not sort of, either a bilateral or 2 or 3 or 4 teams or countries that are associated. It's a much broader. So, I think by not participating in the Asian Games, we I would imagine, do ourselves more harm. Our sportsmen are not given that opportunity to compete with the best in Asia, so to say. So I think there it is. But as I said, you have a valid point, and that could also be one of the ways that we could react. But I think it will not be an effective way. It will be quite ineffective because, you are shooting yourself in the foot in that you're hurting yourself. You are harming your own sporting community by not going there. As far as cricket is concerned, I think we have the possibility of playing with the best. We are the best. And so, that going to Pakistan or doesn't going to Pakistan doesn't really make much of a difference. But there you have a much broader canvas of countries who are present. And I think our athletes and our sportsmen would like to be there and would like to compete.
Okay, we'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much, Mr. Sajjanhar, for joining us this evening. This was a quick chat. Thank you very much. We are staying with sport.